the hour. Alrighty, I'll just double check that we are recording. Yes, we are. Fabulous. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We've been chit-chatting prior to starting. And I've gotten everybody who's here live to just let us know in the chat box where in the world they are. So if you've just joined us and you haven't already done so, please feel free to let us know where in the world you are. We've got a lovely group, a lovely bevy of women here today, which is wonderful. So good to see you. I don't know who Wellness Guide is, so feel free to let me know in the chat who you are so I can refer to you by your name. Paula says, hi everyone, I'm in Christchurch. Amy's here, Central Sunny Queensland. Deb's in Melbourne. Fabulous. Cool. Alrighty, let's get started. So I did a workshop similar to this last month, but this one is different, and I'm purposely done that because of course you don't want to attend the same workshop twice. I've kept some of the good stuff, but I've also added some other juicy bits in as well. So let's get stuck in. If you haven't already got a pen and paper handy or a journal or something to write with, or you might want to do this on a device, that's totally fine. Make sure that you've got something to write with fairly nearby. If you haven't already done so, grab that now. And we've got an hour together today, so you're also going to want to have some tea or some water or something fairly close. Anne-Marie, Wellness Guide. Okay, wonderful. Let me write that down so that I don't forget. Anne-Marie, and it might be worth just updating your Zoom name when you've got a second, just to include that in there as well, Anne-Marie, so that people know who you are. Lovely. All right, pen and paper or journal or whatever it is that you need, get that sorted, have yourself some water handy. We're going to get stuck in. So I'm going to do a quick overview now, just so that you know what to expect in the hour that we've got together. For those who don't know me, you'll get a bit of a feel for my vibe. You'll know I'm pretty chilled, but I've also got a lot to say when it comes to this topic. Anne-Marie says, my reception is so dodgy at present. Okay, well, my fingers and toes are crossed that it improves for you, Anne-Marie, but worst case scenario, you can come back. I'll be emailing this recording out a little later today, so you can listen back on the recording if you need to. No problem. All right, so this is what we're going to tackle today. We've got a lot to do, but enough time to get through it all. So we should be good for timing. First of all, we're going to talk about content and energy. Some of you have heard me say this again and again. Some of you probably feel a little bit like it's a broken record, but it's important. So we are going to address it anyway. Then we're going to talk about when your energy is off and the impact of that and what that's got to do with your content. So the themes, the two key themes for today is content and energy. Then we're going to do a little alignment practice. And then we're going to create some content together. So I've actually got some time carved out in our workshop today for you to actually create some content. So that's why I need you to have the pen or the paper or the computer or device or whatever it is that you would like to work with handy so that you can actually do that. Some of you might like to write things down, pen and paper, and then convert them digitally, however that, whether it's manually typing them or whatever works for you. I'm easy. Then I'm going to go back into a little bit more of kind of presentation style stuff. And I'm going to explain to you a content type or a category, if you will, that I believe is absolutely essential for all of us, no matter what your business model is, who you are, what you do. I think this is absolutely essential. And then we're going to do a couple of live examples. So depending on how we're traveling for time at that stage, we'll be doing some live examples where I'll go, okay, hi, who are you? What do you do? Some of you will already know, so you won't have to explain too much, but we want to make sure that the others who don't perhaps know you get a little bit of an insight so that they can see where we're going with that. So if you're keen and you're willing to volunteer, I will be looking for a couple of volunteers for those of you who are live here at the moment to go through a couple of examples. If I don't use you as an example, what you can do is you can take what we do with some of the other women and apply that as well. And then to wrap us up, I'm going to explain to you how I can help if going through this workshop, you're like, oh, I really need some help with this content stuff. I've got a special little offer for you guys. It's not publicly available. It's kind of like a little incentive to come and hang out and do these live workshops with me, live or recorded, it doesn't matter. And I'll explain that at the end. Deb says, I'm here for you if you like. No worries at all, Deb. I will call on you guys when we get to that. That's in the sort of final stages of the workshop today. And I'll reach out to you guys and see who wants to volunteer at that point. All right. If you've got any questions along the way, pop them into the chat box. If I can answer it then and then, I will. There and then. I think I said then and then. That's not what I meant to say. There and then I will. Otherwise, I'll get you to make a note of it and hold over till the end. And then we can address that at the end, because you might find that you've got a question and I'll address that in the slides to come, and I'll let you know if that's the case. All right. So I want you guys to use the chat box to answer this. What kind of content do you work with in your business? So some of you sell products, some of you sell services, some of you do experiences. Depending on what you do, you've got different types of content in your business. Some of you are at the startup stage, kind of standing at that starting line, just about to start your journey. Some of you are established businesses, and everyone's kind of all in different places. So what I want to know is, what kind of content do you guys work with in your businesses? That's going to help me make sure that what we're talking about today is really going to work for you guys. Here's a couple of examples on the slide. So we've got social media, promotional, newsletters, email sequences, blogs, vlogs, videos, lives. I've kind of just mushed them all together. They are all different. Website content, and perhaps other content as well. So just give me a little bit of an idea as to what the content types are that you guys work with in your particular businesses. All right. Jody says Facebook pages, Facebook groups, blog via YouTube, so video blog, obviously, newsletter, Facebook Lives, 3-minute static videos. Cool. Social media and website content, occasional videos. Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. Amy says all of the above. Cool. Paula says social media, email, newsletters, blogs, website. Cool. Sonali says only social media for now, Facebook page, Facebook groups, and LinkedIn. Totally fine. No problem. And for the record, when you're starting out and you're in those early stages of your business, there's no way you're going to be doing all of the content types, right? That comes with time, comes with growth, comes with progress, right? And if you try to do all the things at once, you're spreading yourself way too thin, and I absolutely don't recommend that anyway. So if, as people are sharing, you're thinking, oh, I'm not doing as much as I should, put that shit away. You don't need to buy into that belief, okay? Do some small things, do some small amounts of things, I should say, and do them well. And then as you grow, then you can add more things to the list. Cool. Where'd I get up to? Louise, Insta and Facebook posts and lives, newsletter, blogs, reels. Awesome. And reels obviously is a fairly new feature. I've seen a few people having a lot of fun with those. I've seen some of yours, Louise. Looks like you're really enjoying them. Kristan says social, email, blogs, website. Karen says social media content, lives, new to newsletters. Awesome. Deb says social, blogs, Facebook groups, and website. Okay, cool. So we've got a nice mixture, but there's a fairly common thread with social media through all of this, which I am not surprised by at all, given my history of my business. And the fact that social media is such a powerful platform, really, at the end of the day. It's at the top of the list for a good reason. All right, cool. Feel free, if you haven't yet answered that, to come and stick the bits and pieces that you play with into the chat box. Okay, so let's talk about why our energy is important when it comes to content. So who wants to pop into the chat box? Feel free to jump in and answer this if you'd like to. Your understanding of what energy is. I know there's a few of you who are really conversant with this idea of energy, so feel free to jump on in if you'd like to pop that in. And there's someone who wants to attend the workshop today, but she doesn't know where the emails are. She'll have to grab the recording. Did everyone get the reminder emails? You should have got one an hour before, 10 minutes before, a day before. Jody's nodding along. Yes, there's 4 reminder emails. Okay, perfect. Thanks, gorgeous Karen. Excellent. Cool. Yes, I remind the shit out of you guys. If you can't make it, you can't make it, and that's totally fine. But if you can, you get lots of reminders to support you to be here if you want to be here live. Okay, energy is everything. Cool. Excellent. Lisanne says, thank you for the reminders. And Kim says, yes, I did get them. Awesome. Cool. So energy is everything is a really beautiful kind of succinct way to put that, Paula. Absolutely. And I think what's important that we understand is that when we're talking about energy, we're talking about things that encompass how we feel and our feeling state within us. So when you're talking about your feeling state, if you were to just close your eyes for a moment now, describe how you feel and pop that into the chat box. because this is kind of the thread that we're going to grab a hold of and go with when it comes to energy and content. So if you're feeling excited, relaxed, nervous, calm, overwhelmed, whatever, just let me know in the chat box how you're feeling right now. Because we could go down a massive rabbit hole, as I'm sure a few of you who are here know. We could dive into the idea of energy being that 5D, beyond the gross material plane, things that we cannot see, but is absolutely informing everything. But we won't go into the full details of that, otherwise we'll be here for much longer than the hour today. Okay, so we've got curious and a little bit stressed. All right, physically not relaxed, a little tired, calm, agitated but leading to calm, focused, excited, slightly anxious, stressed, fantastic and in flow, yucky, had too much sugar yesterday, that'll do it, Karen. Busy, have just come off delivering a workshop, awesome, and you probably got that vibration of that buzz as well, Kim. And then, you know, after you deliver a workshop, then you often need a little bit of downtime afterwards. Oh, Anne-Marie's updated. Beautiful. I can see that that's your name now. Thank you for that. Overwhelmed, excited, scared, tired, keen. Awesome. Cool. So our energy is really important when it comes to creating content. Why do you think that is? Why do you think how you feel, your energy, your feeling state is important when you're creating content? I'll go back to this list. When you're creating any of these things, social media, content, promotional stuff, newsletters, email sequences, blogs, Facebook Lives, website content, all of that other stuff, why do you think it's important to check in with your feeling state when you're creating content? I know this is a really kind of obvious question, but I want you to pause for a moment and think about that. Deb says it reflects in your post. Absolutely. Kim says, yes, she's going to have downtime after this session. Awesome. Because other people can sense it. I know if I read a post someone has written when they weren't in a great state, I can tell because it shows up in your content, because you communicate it anyway. It changes how I write in subtle ways. And I believe even the same words resonate differently when my energy is different. Also makes me less creative. Readers/listeners can pick up on it. Your intentions come through. Exactly. So we know this. You don't need me to tell you that your energy is important when it comes to creating content, right? You guys know this. This is not new information to anybody here. You're very well aware of that. So when your energy is a little, let's say, off, what are you usually feeling? Like, what is your normal kind? And I say normal very loosely. If you are feeling a little off, what is it? Is it feeling overwhelmed? Is it feeling, I'm going to use some of the examples from here. Is it anxious? Is it stressed? Is it agitated? Is it tired? Is it a little, let me see if I've got any other examples. Is it busy? What's your normal energy feeling when you're feeling a little bit off? Pushy, like pushing myself. I love that, Jody. Like pushing yourself too far. I love that. Yeah. Stressed, frustrated, agitated, annoyed, not good enough, overwhelmed, desperate. Awesome. Okay. I know these are not awesome things to be feeling, but it's awesome that we know how we tend to feel when we're feeling a little off. Most of us, things are archetypal, right? And an archetypal thing is just a pattern of energy. We tend to find ourselves feeling a certain way if we're going to be a little bit off. There's usually a select group of emotions that we tend to find ourselves in. Cool, overwhelmed, desperate, expectation, have to get this done, feel determined in a terrifying way. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so you guys are really aware of this. My question for you is, have you ever pushed on through? And I think Jody's kind of really beautifully kind of alluded to this. How often do we, even though we feel overwhelmed, desperate, not good enough, stressed, frustrated, agitated, annoyed, whatever, do we push on through and put content out there anyway? How often do we do this? And this, you don't necessarily need to answer this one in the chat box, but have a think about that. How often do you do that? Just reflect on that for a moment. Do you, when Jody said, you know, like pushing herself, do you, when you recognize that that's the case, do you step back? Or do you push through that and put it out there whilst still feeling that agitation or that annoyance or that frustration or whatever it might be? Not always feeling off, but I always push through when I'm off. Yeah. A lot, says Kim, #sad face. Yeah, all the time. Yeah. I don't. So I end up yeah. Okay, cool, Sonali. Yeah, sometimes. I write it, though I don't necessarily post it. Love it. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just observing our patterns, our behaviors, our choices, okay? I want you guys to take this away with you. Notice how you're feeling. Notice if you're feeling a little off, how that's feeling, and what you do with that. So we're going to do a little practice today to work with that. But before we do, I want to know what your biggest challenge is when it comes to content. What's the most annoying, frustrating, challenging thing for you personally when it comes to content? What's your bugbear? What's the most top of the list challenging thing for you? I'm just going to catch up on what's happening in the chat box. Can't seem to find the time to write. Find the time. I get you. To find the right time to be in the right state to write. Yep, cool. Got you, Kim. I'm just getting all the rights lined up. When I step back in self-care. Cool. Oh, when tired. Yep. Put my head in the sand and avoid all content posts. That is very common, Anne-Marie. Head in the sand is very common. Absolutely. Yeah. Format of the information. Cool. So what we're talking about is the challenges now. Being consistent, Rebecca, also very, very common. Just posting for myself. I think every piece has to be the most important, most valuable, most likely to lead to sales, and then end up not doing it at all or not doing it well because I'm under pressure. Yeah, totally, Jody. Yeah, absolutely. Look, putting that unnecessary amount of pressure on ourselves. Consistency and capturing what comes to my head in a way that makes sense. Yeah, deciphering what it is that you've got and making it make sense to the world. Consistency again. Too many rights using the wrong ones. That's okay. It's all good, Kim. I worked out what you meant in the end. Not writing a book, keeping it short and sweet as well. Yeah. And not overwhelming people with so much information, Karen. Love that. Louise says timing. I always have good ideas in the shower or driving, and by the time I'm in a position to do anything, I've forgotten it all. Solution to the shower thing is something that Christiane, who I believe is here, told me about, called Aquanotes. There's waterproof notepads out there that are available that you can stick in your shower. So that might solve that one for you, Louise. Whilst you're driving, obviously that's not going to work, but absolutely go with the Aquanotes. They've been on my list of things to buy for ages and I just never get around to it. Keeping it on track, needing it to be perfect. I love that, Karen. Absolutely. Kim says lots of information, how to capture the information so it's suitable for others. Yeah, definitely. Wet notes, Aquanotes are the bomb. Cool. Jody, that resonates with me too. Yeah, cool. Needing it to be perfect. Cool. Okay, keep them coming. The good news is that your challenges are very normal, very common. And to be honest with you, when you are going to face these on repeat. This isn't something that you just do once and you solve this, perfectionism or inconsistency or, the challenges that result in us putting our head in the sand. This is something that requires an ongoing effort. But if you run your own business, you know that this is the greatest personal development journey you could probably ever take. And if you are up for it, this is a challenge that you can definitely work with. Okay. And we're going to do a little practice together, as I said, to help with that. So let's do something about that now. Kim says, good to know practice is required. Yes, absolutely. Because if I sat here and said to you, oh yeah, you just do this one thing and then content is no longer an effort and you breeze right through it forevermore, it would be unrealistic and totally out of integrity for me to tell you that. So it takes practice, right? Practice, practice, practice. All right, so let's do a little something about it now. Some of you have done this practice a gajillion times before, but we're going to do it specifically to our content challenge thing, whatever it might be for you. So I want you to take a moment and to pick, Max, chill out, buddy. I want you to pick the most frustrating, overwhelming, challenging, whatever it is, thing to do with content for you. And I want you to just have a bit of a think about how much it bothers you out of 10, with 10 being the most intense. And let me know, you don't have to tell me what it is, but I want to hear your scores in the chat box before we begin the practice. Kim says, good to know I'm not flawed and that if I can't do it, I should walk away from business. Yeah, totally. Absolutely not. Content comes really easy to some of us. the same way that other things come really easily to you. Yeah? You don't have to struggle through it, but what we're going to do together is going to support you. Okay, good. We're in the right place. We've got 8s, 9s, and 10s coming through. That's perfect. Cool. So some of you might not be surprised that we're going to do the micro method together, which some of you, as I said, have done a bajillion times. Some of you have never even heard of it, and some of you maybe have tried it with me once before. Okay, so what I want you to do is let me try that again, is if you are safe to do so, I want you to find yourself a comfortable seated position if you can. And if you feel safe, close down your eyes. If it's not safe or possible for you to close down your eyes at this point in time, I want you to just soften your gaze. Perhaps find something a little way in front of you that you can focus your eyes upon. And just relax by taking a deep breath in through your nose, holding at the top of the inhale for a moment, and then let it go out through the mouth with a really big audible sigh. You're all on mute. I can't hear you, so make it nice and big. Do 3 of those breaths in total. Nice big deep breath in through your nose. Hold at the top of your inhale. And then let it go with a nice big audible sigh out through the mouth. And once you've done 3, just allow your breath to find its own natural and comfortable rhythm. Lengthening your breath, because in our day-to-day life, we tend to breathe in quite a shallow way. Beautiful. And just maintaining that breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And I want you to notice that 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10, whatever the score was for you, just notice it. Acknowledge it. We don't want to dismiss this challenge. And you might like to ask yourself, what's deeper than this? And just see if any answers come to you. And if they do, just allow them to come in whatever way they will. It's likely that there's something a little deeper than the frustration, the overwhelm, the need for it to be perfect, inconsistency. Just seeing if you can uncover what that is. And just acknowledge it. And then when you are ready, I want you to take another deep breath in through your nose and let it go with a nice big audible sigh. And once you've let that breath go out through the mouth with a sigh, I want you to bring the palm of your hand up over the center of your chest, or placing 2 fingers at the center of your chest if that feels more comfortable for you. And bring to mind someone, something, an event, a memory, something that helps you to evoke really strong feelings of gratitude. knowing that your consciousness will offer you up the perfect thing for this moment, for this practice. And I want you to focus all of your energy and attention on whatever your consciousness is offering you, whatever it is, whether it's a person, a place, an event, a memory, whatever you are being offered. Focusing all of your attention there so that you may start to cultivate those feelings of gratitude easily and effortlessly. Allow that gratitude to grow, to expand. Begin to hand yourself over fully to that feeling state. And because you've got something to focus on, it's easy to feel that gratitude moving through you, head to toe. And I'm going to give you a few moments in silence here to allow this feeling state to grow within you with as much focus and intention as possible. Allow the gratitude to move through you, to light up every cell. And I'll call you back when it's time. Taking a deep breath in now, letting it go with a nice big audible sigh out through your mouth. I want you to look around for that content challenge that you rated out of 10. And when you find it, if you find it, I want you to rate it out of 10 once again, 10 being the most intense. And when you have your score, gently lowering your hand to your lap and blinking open your eyes. And I would love for you to share where your score is now. And some of you may not be surprised at all that we've done this practice together. And some of you may be pleasantly surprised and not expecting to do something like that in a content workshop. But this is called the micro method. And this practice, when we do it for the challenges that we experience when it comes to content, can be really advantageous to reduce our stress, our overwhelm, our frustration, doubt, whatever it is that we're experiencing. It's a very short practice. When I send out the recording, I will send you my YouTube version of this practice that you can do at any point in time. But I highly recommend that you play with your energy in a positive way to elevate your vibration and to clear out some of that lower frustration vibe or whatever it might be before you create any content, because we know that that's what people receive. If you are creating from a space of joy, it gets to a point where it doesn't even matter what you say because the energy behind it is so potent and so powerful. So that practice, ideally, what you want to do is get your score to a 2 or below. So I will, as I said, send out this practice with the recording. And if your score is a 3 or above, which I can see there is a few of them, I want you to make some time to go back in and do that gratitude part again. Spend a couple of minutes in silence, hand over the center of your chest, and move into that space again. When you bring that number down to a 2 or below, it barely registers, and that's the space that you want to be creating content from. But all of us have reduced our number. Karen says 4, though decreasing. Excellent. Beautiful. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. You guys did so well. Let's create some content. So I'm going to set a timer first for 5 minutes and then another one for the 10-minute mark. So to do so, oops, I didn't mean to click that. What I want you to do is to go pen to paper or get on your device, on your computer, on your phone, on your tablet or whatever. And I want you to create something, write some content. Probably not going to be doing videos at this point in time, but write some content from this space. So I'll set the timer now. I'm going to give you some silence and I want you to write some content, and I'll do a little 5-minute note and then I'll let you know when the 10 minutes is complete. All right. Okay, so that's our first 5 minutes. I want you to keep going, but what I want you to do is just quickly pause and take stock of how much you've created in 5 minutes when you have done something like the practice we did together immediately beforehand. So just notice, did it take a little bit for you to get started? Were you able to slide straight into it? Were you surprised by how much you've written or created in that short period? I want you to just make a little note, because this is what's realistically achievable when you prepare yourself energetically beforehand. So just make a little mental note, and then we've got another 5 minutes and we'll check back in. We're just counting down our final 51, 50, 49 seconds, just letting you know. Okay, that is 10 minutes. So in that time, partway through, Kim had dictated 308 words, which is very impressive. I want you guys to take stock of how much that you've done in 10 minutes. It's important. So we did a quick little check-in at the 5-minute mark. And there's a pretty good chance for some of you that you're going to want to feel like I've interrupted a flow and you're like, bugger off, Shanae, I've started something good here. Yeah, I know. But I want you to know the reason I've done it this way is that I want you to know what's possible if you spend a few minutes working on your energy and then you sit down to create your content. Yeah, because that was only 10 minutes. You can power through and you can get yourself into a state of flow of effortless, blah, 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 blah. Like Karen's written 4 A5 pages. That is very possible. But if we are stuck in the other feeling states that we talked about, it's a lot harder to create content. Yeah, we're starting to see where I'm going with this. This is not rocket science, but we tend to do things the hard way. Yeah, we've all got content in us. Some of it feels a lot easier for us to create. Some of it feels like we're doing it because strategically we really need to. But this is something that I want you to take away with you. Okay. Kim says, I'm so going to be doing this. This has been an incredible lesson. Thanks for increasing my awareness by sharing your gifts. My pleasure, Kim. My pleasure. All right. So I want to quickly do a little demo as well for those of you who are feeling like you want to have a little play with me. Who has heard me talking about this idea of value content? I know that some of you who are here definitely have. Jody's given me a wave. Let me know in the chat box if you're not on camera, if you've heard me talking about this idea of value content. Give me a little yes. Let me know. Because I want to talk to you about this. I think it's important and I bang on about this all the time. Value content. Okay, cool. So I love it. Rebecca says, not yet, you're about to. So value content is one of 5 types of content that I think are absolutely essential if you're going to run a small business, especially if you're online. Value is just one of them. Christian's heard it a lot, time and time again. So value is one of them, and I'm going to explain what that is in a bit of detail. But you also want to be doing some other things. You want to do posts about you, especially if you are a sole trader. We're buying you. Yeah. It's either your products or your services. We're buying you. Right. We're buying Jody's parenting coaching. Yeah. We're buying Kim's support with Hashimoto's. Okay. We want to know about you. Tell us about you. Some of you will feel really comfortable about this. Some of you will be like, oh, I want to hide under the covers because I don't want to talk about myself. Right. And there'll be a bunch of you in the middle of that. You want to talk about you. That's really important. If you're a bigger business and you're kind of like a faceless business, it's not the same, right? But we aren't like that. So we need to make sure that we're doing that. You want to do social content to talk about, like when I jumped on here live, I was telling Jody about how I'd just been at yoga and I'd done I'd hosted co-working and I was still in my yoga gear this morning. That kind of stuff that you get up to in your day-to-day life is your social content. And don't try and tell me that your life is boring, because I can guarantee you that every single one of you, I would be able to get a whole bunch of social content out of you. It's just a belief that if you think you've got nothing to talk about, that's absolutely not true. There's plenty to talk about. So we've got content about you, social content. You have to promote yourself. Being the world's best kept secret ain't going to cut it. If you are the only person running your business, then if you don't promote yourself, nobody will. So you have to promote yourself. And I think you need some fun content, because at the end of the day, you know, social media, for example, we're on there, it's our devices, and we're there to be entertained. So it's important to have a little bit of fun. And depending on your brand, your personality, and what it is that you do, the type of fun that you have will vary. All right. So for me, if you guys know me, and some of you know me really well, you know I love really bad dad jokes. And you will see them all the time from me. And they're terrible and they make you cringe, but that's my thing, right? Find whatever the fun thing is for you. So they're the 4 other types of content. I'm not going to go into them in any more detail today. Make sure that you've got them and that they're weaved into all of the things that you do. But value content is the one I want to talk to you about. So I used Jody and Kim as examples because I can see them both on the camera, and I know them both well enough to know what they do, not having worked with them, but to use them as a perfect example, what we're talking about here. So Jody with her parenting coaching, right? Value content for Jody is giving mums and dads, I'm assuming, and other people in parenting roles, information, guidance, wisdom, tips, tricks to support them with the challenges of, you can't get out the door because you're however old year old doesn't want to tie their shoelaces or whatever it might be, right? You're demonstrating your expertise in a way that is valuable for people. That's why I call it value content. You don't have to give away all of your good stuff, and you actually can't give away all of the good stuff. You can't possibly give away what it's like to work with you in a one-to-one capacity. You just can't do that, okay? It's not possible. So don't buy into that scarcity belief. But you want to demonstrate the value. You want to demonstrate your expertise. You want to tell people how you do what you do and what's important, and tell them, like Kim, for example, how she knows about what it's like to have Hashimoto's. I want to know what that's like. I want people to educate the impact of it, how it can show up, things that you can do to help, diet wise and things like that. So you want to educate people and give them value. Don't be afraid to give them too much that they won't ever buy from you, because you just can't. You have so much knowledge that you just can't do that. And what you deliver when you're working with people is so different to what you can deliver when you're doing a content piece, whatever it might be. Okay. All right, cool. So does anyone want to jump on? We can do, let's look at the time. We can do two. I'll do two people. Anyone want to jump on and talk about their business, and we'll do a couple of live examples of value content ideas. Was that a wave, Jody? Yeah, cool. Give me a, yeah. And Kim, we're going to go with Jody and Kim. Okay, perfect. Jody, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello again.
Cool. Hello. Tell us what you do, even though we've kind of already talked about that version of it, because I'm obviously never going to use your services before having children, because my child is furry and barks a lot.
So my niche is mums in business who have children under 6 years old. And I help them to help their children with their big feelings so they don't spill out into tantrums and refusing to tie up their shoes, as you say.
Yes.
Like I clearly am using enough consistency in my messaging.
Yes, I've heard you talk about that before. So yes, definitely. Okay, cool. So is there a particular area where you feel like you struggle with value content that we could go down specifically, or do you want to just kind of keep it broad and try that?
Yeah, I think where I get stuck in the value content is it's the balance between like the little snippets of like, say this. I find every now and again there's a piece where I'm happy just to use a few words to say this or try this, but most of the time I then want to go into like explaining why that helps and why you don't need to do it that way, and it's okay that someone else doesn't agree with you, and like I just can't stop talking or typing. So I think that's the kind of the main place I struggle. And then the second place I struggle with value content is like as I mentioned in the chat boxes, like wanting everything to be the most. It's like someone might say to me, why would you tell us that when you haven't told us this?
Yeah,
like it's that. Yeah, it's a subconscious thing, but that's kind of what's underneath of it.
Yeah. And have you had that experience? Has someone said, why would you tell us this and not tell us that? Or is that coming from
not even one time?
Not one person. All right, cool. So we're all clear with what's happening here with Jody, right? We know, we can see this in ourselves. We all do this. We worry about shit that nobody has ever expressed their concerns about to us. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Good news, you're human. Yay. All right, awesome. Okay. So a couple of things with the concise stuff. And I say concise because that's the word that I wrote when you were saying, I want to just do this and I'm at peace with, just say this, but then I want to say this and why and clarify. One of the good things when it comes to content is you always need to produce more of it. So you can do all the different variations of that. So do the short one that's just say this, and then do the next version of that where you give them why, and then do another version that says you do that, say this rather, give them why, and then go into a little bit more detail. You've got one piece of content and 3 different versions of it. It's the same thing about the tying the shoelaces or whatever the big feelings situation is, and then you apply it to all the different big feelings situations that kids find themselves in, yeah? Those kids under 6. So I think this can actually work in your favor, your temptation to want to give more. So you do the short version, you do the next tier up. So if you were to talk about this as like cup sizes at McDonald's or something, you do the small, you do the medium, and you do the large. And then you apply that to all of the different situations that the big feelings have.
Mhm.
Cool. Awesome. Makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Awesome. The next thing, we kind of already addressed it anyway, about the needing it to be the most this or the most that or whatever. You've already recognized that that's coming out of your subconscious anyway. So I'm just going to shut the door because Max is having a bit of a whinge. And he's going to get locked out, and then he'll whinge about being locked out. He just snuck in before the door shut, cheeky bugger. So the next thing I want you to remember as well is that if someone actually were to ever say, hey, G is just a child really, hey, Jody, but like they've got a question for you because you haven't quite given them enough, you can direct them to the right place, or you say, if you would like me to specifically help you with this, there you go. But that concern is actually not happening for you anyway. It's not realistic. Yeah, that's just coming from the subconscious.
Yeah, and I think it's that recognizing that no one is actually complaining about what I'm saying, but if anyone, like no one has, but if anyone was to complain, it would be more like, we would like more of you.
Yeah.
Rather than this is not what we were wanting from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And people wanting more of you is not a bad problem to have. It's a very good thing. Yeah, cool. Awesome. I feel like if you could just do a brain dump of 6 to 10 different examples of big feelings situations, you could then follow that formula and rinse and repeat.
That's a really good point.
This can apply for, this is not just Jody specific. Many of you can you see, I can see some of you guys are nodding. I can see how this applies to many of you, right? For sure. You could do the little bit of info, you can do the small, medium, and large across different things. So Kim, for example, Hashimoto's and food, try eating this food, and then try eating this food because this, and then try eating this food because this, and then more detail. Make sense? You guys can apply that principle across lots of different things.
And I could almost have like a spreadsheet that's like the situation as my client would describe it.
Yep.
And then each heading might be like one thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
The next heading might be, what's driving this behavior, like what's going on for your child that would make this situation come up. The next one might be what might be coming up from your own baggage that makes it hard for you to deal with this. Like I could have a template that's like, just fill it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Rinse and repeat, right? We want to keep things simple for ourselves. So hopefully you guys are like, I can see how this works for me. Yeah. Apply that to your situation, your circumstances. It's gold. Absolutely. All right. Beautiful. Thank you, Jody. Do the little brain dump. I think that's really important, and do that sooner rather than later whilst those creative juices are flowing. Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right, Christiane, did you say, is this a blog or is this a Facebook post because you wanted to chat, or is that just that's one of the challenges, like, is this going to be too long?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the whole, if I start writing and it ends up long and me going, maybe I should have this as a blog post instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. So my 2 cents worth on that is, and then we'll check in with Kim, is both. Do both. Chop it all up. Anything that's a blog post means it's got a few hundred words. Do the blog post. If you've got the information there, and I know, Christiane, you are not short of information for anything that you do, write it as the blog post and then pull pieces out of it. And that's something that I don't know, I don't want to say I'm amazing in a way that makes it sound like I've got tickets on myself, but I'm really good at doing that. And it doesn't mean that you can't do that. You've all got that skill because you wrote the content in the first place. You can pull pieces of that out. Yeah. If you've got it there, write it as the blog post first and then extract bits and pieces, work backwards from there. Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Christiane. Okay, Kim. Let's see how we're traveling. We're going to squeeze the last few minutes into it. If you do need to go on the hour, please do, but we might just need a couple of extra minutes after the hour. All right, Kim.
Okie dokie. So I help women with Hashimoto's to lose weight and increase their energy, because when you've got Hashimoto's, that's harder.
Yep.
And the core fundamental is it's not just about eating less and moving more.
Yeah.
And so the dilemma that I have, like I have a gazillion content ideas. I think it's I have this hesitation because I don't want someone to throw eggs at me if I say something wrong. And because there are so many different opinions about Hashimoto's and how it comes about and how it can be
Yep.
helped.
Yep.
And yeah, so I have lots of content ideas, and I just have a hesitation. I post very little about it.
Yeah.
To be able to call, like you mentioned, how can it show up? And I thought, of course, that would be like really easy to write about.
Yeah. Okay. So my suggestion in that specific example that you've given me, Kim, because you're not short of content, would be to go down the path of I believe, or in my experience, and using phrases like that support you with that, not wanting to have eggs thrown at you, especially, and Christiane, I know, will relate to this a lot, because when you're dealing with the health and wellness industry, there is a lot of different beliefs out there, and a lot of different, this is the only way, people who they'll become your greatest naysayers, right? So if you go down that path, that will alleviate that instantly.
Okay. Yeah. Super. That's cool. That's
Beautiful.
Really cool.
And Christiane says, I was just typing responses, you said my name. What I would also suggest that you do, Kim, Christiane, is that you put them into categories and go one category at a time. Yeah, kind of like Jody, but slightly different approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whilst you're on one train of thought, put all of that to paper all at once.
Okay. So, right. Okay. So one category, allow everything to flow, do your fabulous micro method, flow, let it all go, and then slice it and dice it and use it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. If that's going to work for you, by all means. Some of you won't find that works for you. And I just want to caveat this I want to caveat what I'm saying to Kim with this kind of little disclaimer. Some of you won't sit down and just go blah. Some of you would prefer to just do it in little bite-sized pieces. And if that's the case, put it in your calendar that at the start of your day for half an hour, you write a little bit of content. Yeah, work with what's going to work best for you. I know you, Kim, and I reckon you could sit down and go boom and just get a whole heap. Yeah. So if that works for you, go with that for sure. But keep to a category, because that will help you go down and deep, and that's going to support you really well.
And then the other hesitation is around format.
Yep.
Does it really matter? Does it truly matter? Because I had, way back in the beginning of my journey, someone said, oh yes, but when you write, you need to make sure that you're writing this way and the what, why, here and how and all the rest of it. And I've just gone freeze because, so it does not matter. I can just write.
Yeah, just write. And you will get better. You're not going to get better by not doing it, right?
Yeah,
we know this logically, but it is really important that you do that so that you're starting to build that confidence.
Yeah.
And
I was just reading Jody's comment. That's so true, right? Tempted to write every day. I want to get into the practice of writing every day with so that I can practice, but with the long-term vision of being able to do my content once a quarter or once a month or whatever.
Yeah. And I think there's space to do both, Jody, to be honest. True. Yeah, for sure.
Especially for some of that social stuff.
Yes, for the social stuff. Absolutely.
You can't plan that.
Yeah, you got to give people and it doesn't matter. Like, I share stuff from 3 days prior to when it actually happened. People aren't going to go banging on your door going, Kim, that's not accurate, because I know that you were at the beach on whatever day.
Yeah.
Like, people don't give a shit about that. So we need to let ourselves be a little bit more free in that. Yeah. And also in that same vein, just because someone told you that that's not the right way doesn't mean that you have to go down. Like, live by your rules. Yeah. And your skills will improve by doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Kim. And I can see that Christiane is singing my praises beautifully in the chat box. Your experience is not for anyone else to speak down to. If other practitioners speak to you in a negative way in your post, that's their issue, not yours. And most people who come by will appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. And Christiane and I talk about this concept a lot. She introduced it to me, good, better, best. So good is just start writing the damn content. Better is start writing the content in a way that's going to work with you, whether that's daily, whether that's quarterly, whatever. And best is doing probably a bit of both really well. Yeah, for sure. Excellent. All right. Amazing. See, neither of you actually needed much help with the actual content. Did you notice that? It's not the actual content. Some of you will find that that's the case, and that's okay too. But it's often just we're getting in our own ways. So I've got a couple of little notes because I knew this would happen. I must be intuitive. Sometimes we just need to align our energy with a practice like the micro method that we did together. And I can't claim it as mine. I definitely learned it from Ricky Jane. But other times our challenges are part of something bigger. So we touched on, like, there's some subconscious stuff that Jody thinks that Jody's worried about that's actually just coming from within Jody, no one outside of her. Oops, no, I'm hitting my water bottle, talking really with my hands. It's actually not a big deal. What that means is sometimes the micro method will sort that out for us, and other times we'll need a little bit of focused energy and practical support to actually shift that. If it's impeding your content creation, then I recommend you get some of that energetic and practical support to shift it. Of course, I can definitely help with that, but I want you to notice which one of these two you are. Are you the person who just needs to prepare yourself energetically first and then you'll be good to go? Or are you realistically someone who needs accountability, who needs a bit of support, or who needs a bit of guidance? Yeah. And this might be a right now thing, not a forever thing as well. You're not fixed in one of these boxes. Please don't think I'm trying to put you into a box that you have to stay in forevermore. Absolutely not the case. You'll know which one of these is you. Okay. If it's just that you need to prepare yourself energetically and you're good to go, great. If you need some of that accountability, support, or guidance, that's okay too. All right. So I want you to keep an eye out for these things. I promise we're almost done. I just need to get myself sorted. Spoiler alert. These things are what you're keeping an eye out for. Other things have just cropped up in your life that are more important. Being visible scares me, or I don't know where to start. These are the things that I want you to keep an eye out for. All righty. If you want to make a difference, right? You're probably working for yourself because you do. If you want to quit your day job, because I know some of you are in that situation, not all of you. And if you want your business to contribute to your household's income and not just cover its own costs, being the world's best kept secret will not cut it. And content is how we market ourselves out into the world. So you can see why this is important. Like, this is kind of like my mic drop moment. So you've got to promote yourself. Okay. That's how we do it. So I got a little something for you. We're finished with the formal part. So if you do need to go, please do. But I have a little something for you if you're interested. If you want to come and play in the content creation space with me, I would love that. So you could kind of create your own experience. And I've written choose your mentoring adventure. Like, you know, those books where you can choose your own adventure. You can do whatever you like. Those of you who know me know that I can support you with content creation. No matter what you present to me, I can support you. So if you want to do some content writing in bulk together, if you want to review your content, let's say you're writing something and you just want someone to look over it to give you that, okay, yeah, I'm confident that this is good and I can put that out there. If you want to set up a bit of a content plan, like the categories or some structures, ways to kind of map out your ideas so that you can then put those ideas into a bit of a structure. If you've got content ready and you're ready to start automating your scheduling or bringing in a virtual assistant, I can help with all of those things, right? I've done many hours and worked with lots of clients on these things. Or if you've got something that's kind of a little bit outside of that, but you think I could help, let me know. So if you want to accelerate your online content creation, I've got a little something for you. It's a 75-minute package. So I say package because it's a 60-minute session and then a 15-minute follow-up and check-in. So if you were to buy that, it's so annoying that it's not a round number. My OCD can't handle that, but it's valued at $312.50, which annoys me so much. But anyway, my hourly rate's $250. So if you were to do 75 minutes, that's technically what it is. But I've got packages, 60 minutes and 15 minutes available for you guys if you want to come and do that together. You'd be surprised how much we can get done in an hour. If you think about what we did together, what you achieved in 10 minutes after doing that practice, we can do a lot together. I can write content for you. We can write content together. I can give you a bunch of ideas that you can then flesh out. We can set out a plan, whatever suits you. So if that tickles your fancy, these are not available publicly at this point in time. You can't buy one of these. The only thing publicly available is my 2-hour intensive sessions. So if this tickles your fancy, let me put that I prepared the link because I knew I needed to copy it. So let me just put that in there for you guys. I'll put that in there. If that interests you, then I would love to come and hang out with you and work on your content creation, support you in whatever way, meeting you where you're at, because I think everyone's at a very different stage, and trying to fit a square peg, if you're the square peg, into a round hole of it's one size fits all is not going to work. So if you'd like to come and hang out and do some content creation or aligning or categorizing or planning with me, then I'd love to help you with that. I can organize Facebook Live plans with you, and Christiane can vouch for this. If you guys need to go, please do, of course, because we went a little over time. My bad. Kim says, I just need to get my content ordered before I engage someone. Hashtag facepalm. That's the thought that came up. Totally. But is that really true? Yeah, exactly. We will notice the stories that we are telling ourselves. We will notice those. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so in the recording email, rather, I will, as I said, send you a copy of the micro method so that you can access that. It's free. It's on YouTube. You can find it easily. Just search micro method in my name. It's easy to find. I want you to use it. And I'm not just saying that like I actually want you to use it. Use it before you create content because you notice the difference today. Sonali says, thanks, Shanae. I love your process. You're so welcome. My pleasure. All right, gorgeous women. If anyone's got any questions, please do let me know. Pop them into the chat box now. Otherwise, we are officially done and dusted. I'm sorry we went a little bit over time. I did try to jam it all in nicely, but you know, we needed the 10 minutes for the content creation because I really wanted to make that point really clear. By the time we've done that practice and we move into the content creation, it's so much more easy. So much more easy and effortless. You're so welcome. No worries at all. It's my pleasure. My camera's wobbling because I've got my elbows on the desk and I'm talking with my hands still. It's been so helpful. You're so welcome, Kim. My pleasure. No worries at all. Louise says, you're amazing. And always, as always, thank you. Looking forward to our session together. Yes, Louise booked a session the other day, which I'm so excited for, you know what I mean. Great as always. My pleasure. I feel energized again as always after chatting with you. Yes, Kim and I could talk underwater, I think. Awesome. If you guys need to go, please do. No stress. If you've got any questions, please do let me know. If you're wondering how we could use the session depending on where we're at, you know, for where you're at, I say we because we're all in this together. Please do let me know. If you've got questions, I'm just going to stick around and see if there's any questions that come in. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are amazing. Going once, going twice. Questions? No, so far so good. Awesome. Cool. I'm so glad that you feel energized again, Kim. Love it. So take this energy and do something with it. Can't stress that enough. Cool. All right. I think we might be done. Thank you so much for being here live. For those of you listening back on the recording, thank you for making the time. I bow to you because watching recordings is so hard for me to do. Have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is for you when you're watching this. And I will see you all really soon. Bye for now.